Hello, this is Cryptolyze. I hope you are well. This Friday, 29 December 2023. Today, we are going to talk about INJ, Injectives Crypto. As usual, we will divide this video into two parts. A fundamental part, we will come back to what Injective Protocol is, the role of INJ in the protocol and in the Injective blockchain. And then, we will go to the technical, graphic part, where we will project short, medium, long-term on purchase prices, sales prices. And you will see that it is very interesting. There's a lot to see, and it starts right away. If you want to train and really enjoy bull running, it's simple. There is perfect, complete, free training available. It's through an educational journey that teaches you everything about blockchain, crypto, investment, technical analysis, and trading. All this for free in comments and descriptions. You have exercises, multiple choice questions, modules, videos, guides, everything to support you in your progress. To begin with, Injective Protocol is a Level 1 blockchain which aims to provide all the tools necessary to build decentralized exchanges. So to go a little further and a little broader, it will mainly be finance. Through finance, it is above all a decentralized order book in which they have derived all the functionalities linked to this decentralized order book, and therefore all the applications which are built on the Injective blockchain to have access to all of these units, and these functionalities, This is the very goal of Injective Protocol, in which we find ourselves on a blockchain which is built on the Cosmos SDK. It is in the Cosmos ecosystem, and in which we necessarily have block times which are less than a second, transactions which are very inexpensive, 0-1, and in which we have a blockchain which works rather well and which uses the IBC protocol, therefore which is the interfaceability offered by the Cosmos SDK, which allows Injective to be interfaceable with the whole cryptos and blockchains that are interfaced with the Cosmos SDK. So that's a lot of people. So how does it work? First of all, you must understand that it is a blockchain which aims to build decentralized applications around finance. The main goal is to create transaction volume through the tools they make available, and in particular this decentralized order book. If you don't know what a decentralized order book is, it's very simple. An order book is what condenses all buy and sell orders, whether limit or market, directly in a single order book. It's not called an order book for nothing. The principle is that before it was instantiated in a book in which we noted that Jean-Michel wants to buy so much at so much. That's it, it's exactly this principle, and the goal is that it is now automated and that it is decentralized. Why decentralized? Because it is the blockchain itself which validates this order book and which guarantees its authenticity. And precisely the fact that we have this decentralized order book also implies that any protocol that wants to build decentralized trading applications does not have to ask the question of how I manage my order book. He goes to Injective. He can build his application, concentrate on the UI mainly, so it's the design, the use, and use the functional bricks of Injective. So that makes it a lot easier. Overall, I see it as being a blockchain that has become verticalized, which will target a typology of clients who are developers and businesses who want to build decentralized applications in which we have liquidity, because we are through the IBC protocol, and we have the possibility of using the decentralized order book. Concretely, what is it? Already there are quite a few partnerships in progress, and in which there is a lot of news, in which we have quite a few launches with Elix, which is the DEX, the decentralized exchange which has been launched. The main, we see it here in terms of TVL, so total value lock, meaning the money that is blocked in the protocol. We see that we are at 10 million. And with that, we're going to ask ourselves a lot of questions. This is firstly, what is the real state of Injective Protocol? It's a project that has been going on for some time. We have almost all the tokens that have been distributed. We see that we were on a distribution that was rather classic. And in terms of the release of the tokens, we are in something which is already almost entirely released. So we have all the INJ tokens which are available. So we no longer have any downward pressure linked to that. We have an ecosystem which is relatively complete, so we must not let ourselves be fooled because here we have everything which is interconnected. So all the level 1 blockers which are interconnected, we have the classics in which we will find Link, we will find the Graph, we will find USDC, we will find USDT, everything that is interfaced through the notion of Cosmos SDK. What will be really interesting to look at will be the dApps and tools, and generally everything that will be linked to the use of exchanges, which are not centralized exchanges. but real exchanges that use the injective blockchain. So there are several things to understand about this. 1. The injective token will serve as governance, will serve as protective staking, okay, but will also have a role in the notion of burning and auction. So we must understand that the goal of this decentralized order book is that the protocols will recover part of the fees which are recovered by the decentralized order book. 40 and 60 of these fees are made available in a daily pool. This daily pool is what they call the auction, which will be auctioned by being paid in a form of injective, therefore the token itself native to the blockchain. And above, in this reward, there is a big part which will be burned, more 60 which will be burned behind. So that means that we have a very substantial burning mechanism which allows us to no longer have selling pressure with the generation and release of tokens, but buying pressure because we have a reduction in real supply. On the other hand, we must understand that this mechanism, for it to work, we must have volume. The more trading volume we have, the more auctions we have that will be important. The more we will have objectives that will be burned, and the more we will have next to the concentration of value in the tokens themselves. Which also explains the upward acceleration that we have experienced, but we must take into consideration that currently we have a total value lock of 18 million, which is really very, very little, not to say tiny, and that we must be around 40 million volumes, daily workers. So we had a peak at 40 million, but on average we are less than 10 million, so we have very few volumes which are present. So on the other hand, we still have quite a few commits and quite a few developers working on it. So it's a project that is active. But we must understand that the burning mechanism will have real value as long as we have volume, and we must have volume to have value. It is the same principle that we find, for example, on Ethereum, in which we will have a part of the transaction that will be burned depending on the volume. It's the same principle here. We need to have trading volume, and to have trading volume, we need to have applications that make you want to do trading and which are being built around. For the moment, we are not going to hide the fact that we only have Elix, which really offers the most volume in the blockchain. We have a few other protocols which are being built on it, but for the moment we don't yet have any incentives around that. And the question we will have to ask ourselves is whether the implementation of the burning token and the valuation of injectives is not linked to a form of hyper-speculation and FOMO. When we look a little at tokenomics, we see that we currently find ourselves on a diluted market cap of 3.7. We will say almost $4 billion for something, as a reminder, which has 18 million total value lock. All right? So in terms of ratio, I think we must be in one of the worst that currently exists, and therefore we must take that into consideration. That doesn't mean that injective can't go higher. It just means that the more we move towards a valuation that is very high, despite a decrease in volume, because we understand that the value of the token really comes from this burning system, which is put in place by the construction of a trading volume within injective protocol. If we do not have a total value lock, that means that we have very little volume. If we have very little volume, we have very little burning, and we have very little concentration of value. And therefore, the more we will have a gap between this diluted market cap, which will increase, and next to the total value lock, which does not follow, this implies that we have here the gap of very strong speculation, and that it will be necessary to be very careful, and we will discuss it in the technical part. Technical part, which is very interesting, in which we have this big, very, very strong acceleration. We had a first phase in which we had the establishment of a distribution, breakage of the Dulways. Three-step distribution, moreover, very clean, in which we had a very clean Wyckoff accumulation phase 2, very nice accumulation phase, with behind a rupture phase, a retest, and a re-acceleration which was very strong on the real breaking of this resistance, the breaking of the $4, to form an establishment of a range from April 2023 to October 2023 range, in which we had created a lot of liquidity on hold. Here we could see it clearly. I believe that at the time, where I had started to talk about injectives, we were in this zone, where I was precisely telling you that we had to be careful. If we broke this liquidity hold, we could accelerate. But basically, given that we were in a zone of strengthening liquidity, there were great possibilities of having a retracement, something that we had. And here we had a restructuring of an accumulation behind the establishment of the bullish cycle with October 2023 and the end of October 2023 with the surge in BTC, which was very strong and which propelled a very high objective in which we can clearly see that the taking of liquidity led to a big acceleration and a continuity of the taking of liquidity, which we find here to make a new 88th with a very nice break in which we have wave 1, wave 2, and there overall we are in the construction of a Wave 3 with an objective already of 1,618, which has been validated. Okay, $41 has been currently validated by Injective, and we see that is already in a week of retracement, which is rather classic that we find. What is important to see is that it will depend on two things. One, we must understand that we are currently in a form of hyperspeculation around Injective protocol. So that means that if we ever have a crypto market that enters into a bull market, that means that we will really have an increase in this notion of FOMO, which will take place, and we will still have hyperspeculation. So we'll be able to push high enough, okay? Quite high being to look in the equivalent that we could have there the next objectives of 2,618, 3,618, 4,618, agree? But we must also understand that we must enter into hyperspeculation. Understand that the people here who bought around $7 and are at 40 have taken profits or are in the process of taking profits. All right? On here from the 500 almost and here from the 300. So it is completely normal that there is profit taking, that there is a retracement phase. And here, on a new ATH, do we have to buy? It all depends on your risk management and how much you think about the evolution of the protocol. Personally, in my risk management, this is not an area in which I buy, because I am in a new ATH. Because at the moment, the probability of a retracement is increasingly strong, and in this case, I will wait until if, on Injective, I am interested on Injective, I have an opportunity, even if I have to. Waiting a year, 2 years, 3 years, it doesn't matter much because I have very broad investment horizons, and there are other opportunities nearby. However, we must also understand that we are therefore in hyperspeculation. And that also means that if we are ever in a form of break on the crypto market in which we will have a breather before the halving with the sell, the news which could be set up around the BTC ETF, we will be able to have a fairly strong market breadth, and we could precisely target retest zones, which for me would be the 88th zone. There we have a very nice area in which we could have a form of purchase that could take place. Here, in which in fact we have imbalance which is there to fill. We have a very nice support which awaits us to be able to retest and be able to leave afterwards. On this, we have a setup which would be almost perfect for making a re-entry if we ever have a breather at the market level. Because if we have a breathing space at the market level, that also implies that hyperspeculation will generally decrease, and that the people who bought here in hyperspeculation will be in deficit, and if ever we have downward pressure, they will capitulate, and behind it we will necessarily have a form of cascading liquidation to have a breathing zone in which people will be ready to redeem this type of protocol. Again, there are two things to consider. It's one, there is hyper-speculation, and next to it there is the reality of the token and the crypto business model. One, here when I see something that is vertical, we don't buy something that is vertical. We buy something that is horizontal, purchase zone here, and it's the same principle which we find almost everywhere and which we absolutely must keep. We buy the lateralizations and overall we support verticalizations. If it is interesting, you should not necessarily short in these zones, because as we have seen, we have certain cryptos which, despite a BTC which could sink, could perform. And we have some cryptos that are greatly outperforming the market. Injective, we are one. You have to keep it in mind. It implies that you are behind. This hyperspeculation is the driving force of the protocol and the driving force behind the valuation of the token and could continue to be the driving force in the coming year. And that is why we must either support the increase or do nothing, but rather avoid going short on this type of protocol and on this type of assets. I hope you liked this video. If so, don't forget to leave me a like and a comment. It always makes me very happy. And above all, it supports the work that I do every day. And we'll meet again tomorrow for a slightly special video on the weekly videos. So Saturday and Sunday videos, which will be both correlated, and you will see it will be very, very interesting.